Hi, Devils. My name is Ramos Ewers, and welcome to World Changing 101. Today, our guest speaker is Mr. Sepluveda. Hello. He is our theater teacher here at Shorridge and one of our directors from Mingros. Thank you for joining us, Mr. S. Hello.
Howdy.
Okay, so let's start with the questions. Give us a little background about the musical Mean Girls.
Sure. Let's see. Mean Girls takes place in, say, the 2000s. It is a story about high schoolers who are finding their way and seeing the dynamics in which the system, seeing which the dynamics the system is based upon groups, based upon, trends and how the communication works back and forth. Yeah, you see the journey of this student from another part of the world who comes to the US and sees what it's like to be in a school system like that and seeing the intricacies of that school system. We can relate to it a lot based upon growing up. I know I did watching the movie. I think a lot of the teachers that watched it when we were younger also agree that some of it is kind of like high school vibes. And so being able to bring that to y'all is really exciting.
Yeah. So what went into the decision to choose Mean Girls as our musical this year?
Sure. Well, Mean Girls first and foremost is pretty big right now. It's making waves throughout the theatrical society. And so for me, and no matter what play that I'm choosing, I'm always trying to figure out the students that we have and how we can adapt it and make it work. And I think since last year, conversations between me, Dubs, Mr. Owens, it was just like we had the right cast for it. And I think we believed that we would be able to make something special out of the production. And so we're diving right into it.
Okay. So did you have any pushback on this choice?
I don't think that it's pushback in the sense of, people saying that they don't want to see it or that they don't want to put on the production based upon the content that's on it. I think it was just there's some verbiage, some content that on it that's in the script that's a little bit. I mean, you guys hear it every day in high school, and so it's one of those dilemmas for us: is how are we going to showcase that? How are we going to make it acceptable, but at the same time have respect with what is being said? So that's the only pushback that I would say that there is trying to figure out how we're going to make it friendly for everyone, but at the same time stick true to the story, which is what high school is all about, right?
Yeah. So I know many students are probably familiar with the movie. How would you describe the difference between the movie and the musical?
Well, I think with musicals, a lot of people have this stigma that it could possibly, it's nothing but songs left and right. I think with this musical, since we're so used to the storyline of Mean Girls, I like the way the story goes. I like how they've incorporated some of the moments from the movie and they've turned it into a sound like a music piece. They've turned it into a musical piece, and it just works. And there's a couple of songs that they just added in there that I want to say that just advance it, that kind of are weird, that have nothing to do with the movie. But the storyline makes sense, and the fact that they try to stay true to the storyline, it caught my eye for sure. So there's a lot of different shows that don't do that. This was one of them that did, and so it just caught my eye a lot.
Yeah. So what challenges would you say you have had with developing this for a high school performance?
The challenges so far have been just trying to get the rehearsal right, trying to get the materials in, trying to get everything squared away before we actually dive right into it. I think coming to Shortridge last year in January, it was a different situation when we started the Wiz, and I think for Mean Girls, the challenges are a little bit different, but I think we're all right for now. I think it's just a little bit of bumps on the road, but we'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah. So how will we benefit from coming to see the musical? What's in store for the audience?
Well, anytime that you have the opportunity to see live theater, that's something that I appreciate, and that I love to watch. It's not just like a TV show that gets millions of takes. It's not just a movie. Live theater is something different. Live theater, it only happens once, and that one time that you're there, it may not happen again. And so with Mean Girls, like I said, we're trying to relate to the student body so much. There's so many uh, there's a couple of people that are in our faculty that you see in class that you may have as a teacher, that you may have as a social worker, a dean, someone in that sense that are contributing to the show that you're going to see them on stage. And so not only are you going to see a great story, but you're going to be able to see some of your teachers on stage, some of us that are just being normal human beings, but having fun being on stage. And so that's
Yeah.
something to look forward to for me. That's really, really exciting.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it too. So, is this your first time producing a musical?
No, it is not. I've been teaching for quite a while, and so I've been a part of several musicals. This is about the third one I've directed, but I've always been a part of it of musicals. So whether that be creating the set, creating the costumes, different sorts of nature of like that. But yeah,
Mhm.
definitely, it's not my first one.
So what other musicals have you done?
Ooh, ooh, ooh! Now we're talking. Let's see. We've done Cinderella, Little
Oh,
Shop of Horrors, You're in Town. Let me see. I think that's uh Putnam. So what is it? The 70, no, the something annual Putnam Spelling Bee. Trying to think off the top of my head, but yeah, I've been a part of a couple that have been really
okay.
interesting. That's for sure.
You have a lot of experience. So, what out of all of them, which one's your favorite?
My favorite like to produce would have probably been Little Shop just because the plant was great. Being able to have different spaces when we made this set. We had we used the fly system at the school that I was at. And so we had a piece of scenery that was going up at the same time a piece of scenery was coming down. It weighed more than like 500 pounds. So, I mean,
Oh,
being able to do stuff like that and having the students that were all bought into that and trying to do something that was really, really cool. And it was my first time doing something like that too. And so the fact that, you know, I was able to have kids buy in and we did it and it was successful, it was super exciting. So yeah, for sure.
yeah. So, with producing and everything, what skills do you think a person needs to do that to produce a musical or a play?
Well, in theater, it's very interesting. You can have a wide range of talent. You could be the lighting designer, you could be the costume designer, you can be the set designer, you could be the director. There's so many avenues in which you can help, even being a stage manager. And it's all
Mhm.
part of the production. For me, being the director is kind of it's like a big it's a big chair to fill. You know, you have so many
Yeah.
people that are not looking up to you, not like that, but like that are counting on you to make the right decisions and to do it the right way so that way you have a production that is successful. I think having that and weighing that on your shoulders is really, really cool. Because like I said, dealing with so many students that are so talented, dealing with so many adults that are so talented, and being able to put all that together, while we're all working together collaboratively, that's something that's really, really powerful and it speaks to itself. And it resonates not only in theater, I mean, you do it in sports all the time too, with the coaches and the players and the athletic trainers and everything. So it resonates very well in different areas. But yeah, just being able to collaborate with one another, I think for me is like the best part.
Yeah. So far, what has been the most fun for you producing the musical?
For this musical right now, it's just the design part. It's just designing it, putting it all together. I like to think about it like a puzzle. When you go, I don't know about y'all, but during the pandemic, there was a lot of things that we could not do, and puzzles were one of those things where it was like everybody was going all crazy for puzzles.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you get a box, you open it up, and I think for me, it's like getting all the edges and then you
Mhm.
start filling it in. So
Yeah.
right now, in the beginning portion of, the musical, it's like getting all the edges together, getting it all set up, getting the cast ready. And then it's about filling it in and putting all the puzzle pieces and making them fit. And so I would say that portion would be, yeah.
I'm so sorry about that. Okay. So
Took me for a whirlwind.
okay, so during the pandemic, how did you do theater? How were you
Oh, it
able to
was
support?
tough. It was tough. Even doing lessons was hard. I think for me, one of the things that I tried to do and I tried to incorporate a lot was a lot of the social media. So I know at the time there was like a lot of TikTok challenges or like Instagram stuff where people were making. Is that what you're asking me? No? Yes?
No, yeah, yeah.
Um, okay. Yeah, and so I have a couple of college roommates that I had that are doing professional theater, and they would do professional readings and they would act out the way that we're doing, um, video chat now. They would do performances, but they would do it all online, and it was so weird to see. Um, but I was able to get my classes, free views of that, where we were able to get in and see how they would actually put the productions on. Um, Very weird and interesting. It's a wild time in our lives.
Yeah.
Um, but it's something that, we learn from. And if it were to ever happen again, we have to step up on it and we know how to get it done. So very
Yes.
interesting but cool.
Mhm. Have you ever participated in a musical as an actor? If so, what was the experience? If not, would you like to?
Yes, I have experienced. No, I haven't experienced it as like a lead or anything like that. That's
Mhm.
like far too out of my like I'm good, but I ain't that good. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I primarily like acting, like in acting roles, like in
Mhm.
in a play.
Yeah.
Musicals are fun, don't get me wrong, but they're not my forte. They're not my expertise. And acting wise.
What was the play you acted on?
The last play I acted
Mhm.
in,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're asking the students that were here, I acted in the show The Wiz when we did it for the little elementary kids last year. But
Oh,
before that, the last show I was in was The Odd Couple, but it was the female version. So those of you that are aware of that,
mhm.
I just played one of the brothers that was dating one of the older women. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So, shifting directions, at what age did you know you wanted it to be part of the theater world?
14.
14?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd done sports all my life, and then I got hurt, and then the opportunities to try something new came up, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Hey, you want to try something?" So yeah, sure. And at the beginning, it was all about being a techie and like being back like in the because I didn't want to be seen, I was like,
Yeah.
ah. But then you get that courage. I had my theater director in high school would just give me a lot of courage, just put a lot
Mhm.
in me, and kind of let me loose. And I did really good in high school, making like the accomplishments that I
Yeah.
made in high school were really, really good. And so I just continued with it. And I never stopped. Yeah. It's just like it's one of those things where you just continue growing and you
Yeah.
fall in love with it. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So, could you describe a little bit about your career journey? What education did you receive to be an actor or director?
Sure. So after high school, I went to Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. And that's on the Bay of Corpus Christi. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was doing costuming there. I was acting. I was directing. And I got my bachelor's with teacher certification. And so I've been teaching since I was 22. And so I've been teaching for about 10 years now.
Wow.
And the whole time that I've been teaching, I think for me, one of the most important part is, like I said, if I have the chance to be in a show, if I have a chance to audition for a show, that just builds to my repertoire, and that helps me be a better teacher, better example for the students that I have. When I was in the last school that I was at in San Antonio, it was on a military base, and they had a theater. That was the last show I was in.
Mm-hmm.
They had a community theater on base, and so I made it a point to go and audition, and they cast me in one of the roles. And as soon as they cast me, I came back to my class and I was like, yo, I'm gonna be in this show. Y'all gonna be able to come see it. I'll be on stage. And they're like, that's really, really cool. And so I had a couple students that came out and saw. I don't know, it was really empowering to see that, what I'm teaching the students, they actually come and see it. So yeah, it was really cool. It was a cool moment
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. So, why do you feel the theater is an important class for students to take?
Step out of your comfort zone a little, try
Mhm.
something new, try something different. I know it doesn't seem that way. I was just asked this by one of the kids, like before we did this interview. They're like, Mr. S, you nervous or what? And I was like, I'm always nervous. I don't think it's one of those things where you're never not going to be nervous.
Yeah.
I'm very like, I don't want to say I'm an introvert because I don't think I am, but if I don't know anybody or anything like that, I want to be very, very to myself. I'm going to be
Mhm.
very um not comfortable, and it's not until I have a moment in which, I don't know, you put me on the spot, I'll just go up there and I'll be comfortable and I'll just explode and I'll do what I need. And I think everyone needs that. I think everyone needs a moment to have that space.
Mhm. Yeah. So, a question that we received from a student and also in the cast of Mean Girls, her name is Pleasance Lawrence. So, her question is, how does it feel to be a minority at the theater in the theater production?
Yeah, I had this conversation a little bit earlier with one of my students who was doing their EERP. Um,
Uh-huh.
I think it's very difficult. It's difficult when you are trying to be a professional and you're trying to actually be in those roles. Like I said, I do have a couple of roommates that I've had previously that are pursuing, following the dream. And a lot of things that they do say is sometimes they don't get the roles that they deserve because they give those roles to other actors that are of not our color, but yet the roles are for our color. And
Mhm.
so, whether that be black, brown, Asian, whatever it may be, they're not giving the roles to those of us that deserve it. And so it's very, very hard. And so when you're a part of something, um, you just have to be, how do I say it? Um, you take it with a lot of respect because there could be a lot of people that they want your part or they want your job and they don't have that opportunity and you don't want to ruin that for the rest of them. And not like that, but you don't want to ruin it for the rest of us kind of thing. And so, it's just being professional, just being humble, doing what needs to be done, working hard, and just showing that, we can do it. And it's
Yeah.
just not one of those areas in which one person or one culture, it's everyone can get it done. And you're seeing that, I think, more so now than it was back then, that's being pushed out into the world more, and we're being put into those spotlights and been like, hey, we got some good talent too,
Yeah.
and we're able to showcase that a little bit more. And
Mhm.
it's really, really enlightening.
Yeah. So, have you ever thought about continuing your career in New York, being a Broadway?
Broadway. Um, I'll
Mhm.
tell you what, if the opportunity would ever arise, right? And let's say they were like, hey man, we got this spot, it's just for you. It's like typecast. I mean, of course, I think
Yeah.
that would be the dream, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it would still take a lot for me to say like, hey, peace to like the teaching world. You know, it's
Mhm.
hard. The stuff that we do, it may not seem like it resonates to some people, but I mean, the stuff that we do as teachers is really, really great. And the stuff that I do in my classroom and the theater that I push out and I try to push out, I just want it to be influential to y'all, and I want y'all to carry it with a good grace and not carry it like that was a waste of time, that was a waste of class. I
Mhm.
want y'all to take it
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So, Mr. S, can you do a little commercial for us for Mingros?
A little commercial.
Yes, a commercial.
Um, y'all, let's see. Hi everyone. No, I'm just kidding. No, well, I mean, like I was saying, Mean Girls is going to be a great production. I have nothing but faith in our team, and the people that I'm working with, and the cast that we've cast, and the crew that we have. I think it's going to be a great production. It's going to be November. Let me pull up on my phone because I'm not trying to give you the wrong dates. It's going to be November 10th at 7 o'clock. And we're also going to have two shows, November 11th, one at 2 o'clock and one at 7 o'clock. And then we're going to have our final show November 16th at 7 o'clock. And we just may have a show on the 17th of November, which would be the last day that we have before Thanksgiving break. So keep your fingers closed.
Okay.
All right. Keep your fingers crossed, because if we were able to do that during the school day, and have y'all come down and actually see the show, that would be so cool. So yeah, just keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully this is the day. But yeah, November 10th, 11th, and the 16th for sure. Those are the days that we are going to be up and going.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to watch Mean Girls, so I can't wait till November.
Absolutely, it's gonna be so fetch.
Are you guys gonna be wearing like pink shirts when like the days are coming, like you're wearing one right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Every Wednesday, if you see me in the hallway, I'll be wearing pink. If not pink on my shirt, it'll be on my cap, on my belt, on something. Pink is my favorite color, so
Yeah,
I always rock pink. It don't matter to me what day, but
yeah.
Wednesdays we wear pink type of thing. So yeah, of course, the closer we get to it, the more we're gonna try to get a little bit more social aspect outside where we can all be included.
Yeah. So, well, Master S, we thank you for joining our World Changing 101 today. You took time out of your busy schedule to speak to Shorewich students. We appreciate you being here with us. Please have us tune in next week's World Changing 101 with your teachers to hear more voices from our community. Thank you, Mr. S. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
Mean Girls. Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.